If you sell a product or you sell any kind of services online and you want more customers, you want more clients, you want more sales, right? This is going to be one of the most important videos that you will watch that's going to teach you how to sell effectively, right? And here's the thing, the message is the most important thing, and this is why everything comes down to copy. And copy are just words. The words that you is just the words that you communicate with people to lead them to take the action that you want. Whether that is becoming a customer, whether that's putting a name in an email, it's all to do with copy. And the most important thing is your messaging. Whether you're advertising on your website, you're on a sales call, is the message is that was what connects with the audience and once convinces them to believe what you believe or take the action that you want them to take, right? So it all comes down to the message, right? When you're advertising or anything, or when you're trying to promote your products, right? Or you're posting content and maybe you're not getting enough views, right? Maybe you're not getting enough customers. There's nothing wrong with the algorithm, right? The algorithm is just a medium. The message is what connects with the audience. Is the message the most important thing is what connects to the audience and is the bridge between getting people to do what you want them to do, right? And that's what we're going to cover in this video. And if you stay to the end of this video, you will learn exactly how we have generated, and I have generated personally for my clients, millions of dollars in sales, right? I'm over 5 years in marketing right now. I've been selling products online since I was 14 years old. I have spent close to 20,000 in online courses, coaching, training, and what I've done is collected all of that key information. I've also spent, I have a marketing agency. If you don't know who I am, my name is Aya. I run a growth partner marketing agency. We help people get more customers, get more clients. We spend hundreds of thousands in ads as well. And what I've done is combine all of that experience, all of that data that we've acquired, and I'm going to share that in this video as the best practices that anyone can apply to get more customers. And the great thing about this is you don't need to be an amazing copywriter, right? Copywriter is not about you necessarily writing. It's assembled. It's taking pieces of what already exists and putting them together in new and different ways, right? And with AI as well, you can use this to develop, to work even quicker and develop great ideas because you have a personal assistant that can actually help you come up with really high engaging copy to connect, to help you sell more product, right? And without further ado, that's what we're gonna go cover in this video. So let's go. So the first thing is your headlines, right? The most important thing is your headline, because at the end of the day, if you don't capture attention, you can't sell to anybody, right? So the headline and the hook, so the first 3-4 seconds of the video, or your headline, the headline and creative, that is one of the most important things. That's where we actually spend the most time, because if people don't, if your headline doesn't connect, if you don't capture people's attention, the rest of your copy, it doesn't matter because people never see it, right? So let me minimize myself. Right, so the purpose of the headline and the hook is to capture attention, right? So what makes a good headline? Well, a good headline sparks curiosity enough to learn more. The only objective of your headline is to capture attention and get people curious enough to click, to read on or click, right? If you don't have people's attention, you can't sell, so this is the most important part of your messaging, right? So in terms of headlines, you can target different parts of the value equation. So the dream outcome, perceived likelihood of achievement, time delay, effort, and sacrifice. If you don't know what the dream outcome is this template by Hormozi that shows how you make an offer valuable, right? So let's go in here. So there's different types of headline formulas that you can use, and you can start putting this into AI to help you generate ideas as well. I don't get AI to do everything for me, but nowadays I've teaching people in my team, people in my team, my copywriters, to use AI to generate ideas. But if you have a trained eye, you know what inputs to get the best outputs out of the AI, and you know what is a good output and what is a good headline, right? So here are different headline formulas. I'm going to show you exactly the different examples of this going forward as well, right? So X result in Y time. So clear 10 years of acne in 7 days, right? X result, big result in a very short amount of time. And this targets, the outcome of, a dream outcome with a short time delay. And what you learn as well, if you want to make your headlines even more powerful, you can start actually mix and matching and combining this. You can't use everything at one time, but you can start using different elements and putting them together to make a really, really powerful and strong headline, right? The target audience call out. So you can call out, hey, mums with kids with ADHD, right? Mums with kids with ADHD. That's a target audience call out, right? So it can be, when you talk about target audience, it could be like the demographic of people, right? Their characteristics or their problem, right? Okay. Next one is target pain and problem, right? So let's say if you suffer with hyperpigmentation, right? I'm going to give you more examples further on, but to show, right? Ridiculous result, right? So I gained 50 pounds of muscle in 7 days. Ridiculous result, captures attention, right? A listicle, so a listicle would be like, oh, 5 reasons why mums love this buggy, for example, right? A calibrated question, so a question that gets people to think, right? What would you do with an extra $100,000, right? As soon as a question is asked, your brain automatically wants to answer it, right? So that's why calibrated questions are really good. How? So yeah, how I made 50,000 this week. It sparks curiosity. You can see how all of these headlines are to do with sparking curiosity, right? Because the whole objective is to get them to read and learn more, right? The dream outcome with this mechanism. So I'm going to give you an example of that further down. So dream outcome, how I solved this problem using this little, this unique system, for example, right? Do this for X result, right? Yeah, do this for X result. Study this book to make 100,000 this year, right? This was just doing like a comparison, right? A story angle. That just introduces you to a unique story and a big offer, so you can like buy one get one free, that kind of stuff, right? So just to walk through some examples, right? 30 years of business knowledge in 2 hours 26 minutes. So the great thing about this, these headlines can come in different ways. In this examples, what's really great is I took it from all different places. So it took me a lot of time to assemble. So you need to appreciate this video because I put a lot of time and effort into this. So I studied YouTube headlines and thumbnails. I went into advertising and studied the headlines there. I studied headlines and all the copy from landing pages. So all of the examples I'm giving you come from different types of mediums to connect with an audience, whether that's a YouTube video, whether that's a landing page, whether that's an ad, right? So 30 years of business knowledge in 2 hours, 26 minutes. So this is done by this guy called Simon Squibb, and it's one of his top performing videos, and I've seen a lot of people in the industry start to model this as well. But this is the video.
I am good at
and you can see
business.
This video got 10 million views. It was posted 11 months ago. 30 years of business knowledge in 2 hours 26, and this is an example of X result in Y time, right? You get this big, massive piece of value in a short amount of time. Dream outcome, short time delay. Are we seeing this, right? Cool. Next one is 12 years of acne and pimples. Pimples gone in 9 days. So let's open this up, right? And you can see this headline too. So you can see that Norse Organics, 12 years of acne and pimples went in 9 days. This ad ran longer than a year, guys. What does that mean? Well, no one runs an ad for a long period of time if it's not making them money. So how much money do you think this ad made them, right? So really, and literally, the creative is literally just big headline, a visual, and a product. Nothing complicated, but this is what I mean. The messaging is the most important thing. Here's another example. This cleared his itching in 2 days. This ad also ran for almost close to a year, right? X result in Y time. So, next one, how? So here's another example: how luxury brands brainwash you to buy. Right? Isn't that curious? Isn't that hitting on the curiosity aspect? You can see how all of these headlines spark curiosity for you to learn more, right? Because it creates an information gap. An information gap is, well, you've given them a question, you've given them a proposition, but they don't actually know what it is. So they have to learn, they have to read or watch or consume the information to learn more, right? So here's one. Here's one: how luxury brands brainwash you to buy, and this did 3 million views, guys. How luxury brands brainwash you to buy. Isn't that a curious? Wouldn't you want to know that, right? Aren't you curious about that? How to use AI for electrical contractors, right? And you can see this is an example of not just a how, but this is a target audience call out, isn't it? Because look, he's saying electrical contractors. He's speaking to a specific categorization of people, right? So here's one: how to use AI for electrical contractors, ran for 161 days, right? So you can see how you can start putting these headlines together to make it even more powerful headline, right? So how my skin went from this to this. Right? And this is not in a headline format, but it's in a hook format. So that's what I'm saying. I want to give you as many different examples as possible to show you how all of these things can be applied, right?
How my skin went from this to this.
Right? And you can see how that sparks curiosity, because if you have a skin issue or a skin problem similar to hers, you want to know what she did to get rid of it, right?
How my skin went from this to this.
Ran for 129 days, right? Cool. Target audience call out. I'm 45. Starting to get old wrinkles around the eyes. Look. And this is an example on video, right? So how is this a call out? Because she says her age. They're targeting people with the same likeness, right? Look, this ran for over a year, right?
I'm 46, starting to get the old wrinkles around the eyes, blemishes and pigmentation.
Boom, right? And what's this an example of? Target audience call out, and then the target pain and problem, right? So I'm 46, starting to get an old wrinkle around the eyes, pimples, hyperpigmentation, right? And this ad is getting pushed out to people who fit that exact demographic. So you can see how that calls out to people, right? And it's not even just in what she says in terms of like she's 46, it's her herself. Her herself is a call out because she is the same. She has the same likeness as the audience that she's speaking to, right? So they do call out in multiple different ways here with the likeness of the person, with the what she says, right? A 46, so it connects with that audience, right? And the problem that she's dealing with too.
Starting to get the old wrinkles around the eye.
So you can see how you can start combining these things to have a really powerful call out, right? Okay. Next one. Mums of teenagers with acne. Mums of teenagers, right? Target audience. Mums of teenagers. Very specific. If you're a mum that has a teenager, you're probably going to, you're probably going to pay attention to that ad, right? Your son's biggest wish, acne-free and glowing skin. How is this again? How's this targeting? It's targeting, well, your son's biggest wish, right? So your son is targeting parents. That can either be male or, the mothers or the dads, but it's targeting parents because it's talking about your son. Your son's biggest wish, right? Your son's biggest wish, acne-free and glowing skin. And you can see this ad ran for literally like close to a year, guys. And look, the creative isn't crazy, but the messaging is the most important thing. This is why these ads can run for a long time, because the message connects. I really want to drill this down and get this through your minds, because so many people are worried about the editing, or they're worried about how things really look, and like all of those things. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. It does matter, but nothing matters more than your message when it comes to marketing, when it comes to advertising, when it comes to copywriting, when it comes to making videos, nothing matters more than the messaging. Right, cool. Do this for X result. So do this to make 100,000, 10,000 as a student, right? And then what's this an example of?
Absolutely everyone.
Right? 7 million views on this by Iman Gadzi, right? So this is an example of, this is also, right? So do this for X result, right? Perfect example of this, right? Make 10,000. And then also, this is also a target audience call out because it says as a student, right? Very specific demographics. So you can see how when you start combining these different elements, it makes some really powerful headlines that can capture a really large pool of attention because this got 7 million views fucking organically. You know how crazy that is? Do you know how much you need to spend in ad spend to get 7 million views on a video? Depending on how good that ad is, that's easily 300, 400, 500,000 dollars, right? If you're targeting the US. Okay, 3 things to book 100 calls per week as an agency owner, right?
Hey,
This
Serge.
one,
Hey, what's up?
this one, 100,000 views 2 years ago, right? 3 things, right? So do this for X result, right? 3 things to book 100 calls per week as an agency owner, right? And then this is a combination of this and then the target audience call out as well, right? From 0 to mil a year, do this, right? Cool. So next one, target pain and problem, right? Stop embarrassing acne in days, right? I can see how they use this on their landing page. Stop embarrassing acne in days, right? If you want to make your headlines even more powerful, guys, target emotions, right? Target emotions because emotions is what drives action. It's what drives our behavior, right? It's all emotions. How you act when you're happy or how you act when you're sad is different. Emotions drive behavior, right? So if you want people to take action, target emotions, right? And pain is a powerful motivator in terms of emotions, right? So stop embarrassing acne in days, right? People who have acne, they feel embarrassed. They don't feel comfortable going out because they feel insecure about this problem that they have on their face, right? So stop embarrassing acne in days. It's a very short but powerful headline because it's targeting a pain problem and it's giving them the result in days. So that's a target pain. And guess what, guys? This is also an example of X result in Y time. You can see how you can start combining these guys to start making really powerful headlines, right? So this is another one.
It hurts my heart to see Kevin flaring up and itching all the time, and there's nothing that I can do to help him. Kevin had...
Boom. What a powerful hook. Target pain and problem. So this is also an example of like a story angle too, right? So you can see they're similar. Where you can say, it hurts my heart to see Kevin flaring up and itching all the time, and there's nothing I can do to help him, right? So they're targeting in many different ways, right? So they're using the likeness of the target audience because they try and target parents who want to do this for their kids, right? Really big, and especially mums too, right? Because mums, they're nurturing by nature. Well, they should be anyway, right? So they want to help. They have a primal, feelings that are trying to help their children. And they do a wonderful job of targeting them because even though these are probably most likely actors, you can see this is presented like as a mum. It hurts my heart to see my son suffering, right? This ad ran for 2 years, guys, right? And you can see why. You can see how they're targeting pain points and they're targeting emotions. In the first 5 seconds,
itching all the time, and there's nothing that I can do to help him.
It hurts my heart to see Kevin itching all the time. So they're targeting the pain and problem. They make it emotional as well. Cool. I had to put quite a lot of makeup to get enough confidence to leave the house. Isn't that targeting a pain and a problem, right? You know how isn't that triggering an emotion? How many women can relate to that, right? Because women, especially, are insecure because they're very judged on their perception. They're very judged on their beauty, right? And they hold a lot of, value in that. So if their skin's not nice or they have acne or have a certain skin problem, right? How many women can relate to? I have to put enough. I have to put quite a lot of makeup on to feel confident to leave the house, right? And that's a painful problem for them. You can see how these headlines are really, really powerful, right? Let's play this. Hope you guys are getting a lot of value from this, because this is, if you know how to, I'm showing you different ways and different examples, so you know the different ways that you can apply this, because you want to use copywriting is literally the connection between all of everything that you do in your marketing funnels, in your advertising, in your sales calls, everything, right? This is why it's so important.
I have to put quite a lot of makeup on to get enough confidence to leave the house.
Right? Right? So, we're focusing on copy, but also, I want to give you even more than that, right? Because they're targeting, with their headlines and a hook, they're hooking people in different ways, because also they're using the same likeness, right? So,
I have to put quite a lot of makeup on
to leave the house, and it's showing her with pimples and stuff. It's showing the problem that's very relatable to people. And then it says the copy, with the words that she says, I have to put quite a lot of makeup on to have enough confidence to leave the house, right? How much more powerful is this then? If you want to clear your pimples, use this, right? This triggers emotions. This targets pain. This drives action, right? This versus this. So Mr. Beast does this really, really well. So $1,000 plus a $500,000 plane ticket. Like, you can see how this has a massive curiosity, like, sparks a lot of curiosity, because it's such a big comparison. It's such a big comparison that you want to learn more, right? $1 versus a $500 plane ticket, right? Let's play this.
We're going to fly on this jet that costs $500,000 per flight. And we're also going to fly on this $25,000 private jet, a $10,000 first.
Right? This got 465 million views, right? Do you think Mr. Beast knows some things about capturing your attention, right? It's another one. So he did this. He's done this. These are some of his highest views videos, right? And it's there for a reason, because it sparks a lot of curiosity, but it sparks a lot of clicks. You know what I'm saying? So this is 444 million views.
$1 billion super yacht, and it's big enough to hold an entire city on the water. How do you?
Right? Boom. And it's another one. $1,000 plus $1 plus versus a $1 million hotel room. Right? Next one is ridiculous results. Right? It's boring, but it will make even beginners millionaires in 2025. That's a ridiculous result. Even beginners millionaires. And then what does that do as well? It targets on the dream outcome. The dream outcome, which is to become a millionaire, right? And this is another one by Iman Gadzhi.
So, here is the raw.
And it's got 1.7 million views organically, guys. 1.7, right? Another one. I found a product that's about to make its sex life 10 times better. Does that not spark curiosity? Like, come on, guys. Does not spark curiosity? I found a product that's going to make your sex life 10 times better, right? Big, ridiculous result. And that, what does it do? It captures attention. And what does it do? It sparks curiosity. And what does it do? It makes you want to read and watch on.
I found the product that is going to make your sex life 10 times better.
Right? This ran 144 days. Right? Stop acne in 5 days without Accutane. Big, powerful headline, and then in a very, very short time frame. Right? Stop acne in 5 days without Accutane. Big result. And you can see how simple their ads are, right? You don't need to spend. This is the thing. People are so confused. They think they need to spend hundreds in mass production, or you need to record this at a studio, or do this and this. These guys have a static image with a headline, a really powerful headline, and they're having ads run for 188 days, right? Whereas other people are spending hundreds and thousands on UGC creators for videos that don't even convert. Why? Well, they're missing the link, which is the messaging, right? Cool. Story angle. I was very skeptical skeptical, we are ready for Accutane, right? This is telling a story. This introduces a story. Powerful. Right, 200. This ran for 277 days, guys, right? This is one of my favorite ads because we made this for one of our clients, actually. So I'm going to show you an example. And how does this tell a story? Okay, responding to hate comments about my skincare brand. Does that not spark curiosity, guys? Right? So this ad is currently a winning ad for us. It's been running longer than 70 days, right? And what does that tell you? Well, it's making us money, right? So responding to hate comments about my skincare brand.
So I saw this not so nice comment from one of our ads from a lady named Jador, and her comment wasn't so adorable, but
right? And there's another one. When doctors feel rotten, this is what they do. Would you not want to know what doctors do when they feel rotten, right? Okay. Listicles. So, listicles, 7 principles for teenagers to become millionaires, right? 7 principles. This is an example of a listicle, but what's also the example of as well? It's also an example of a target audience call out, right? Boom. Here's another Imran Gadzhi video. 6.2 million views. Five reasons why this turmeric soap faded my dark spots when nothing else would. Right? 5 reasons why this turmeric soap faded my dark spots when It's an example of a listicle, and it's an example of a target, target pain and problem. Right? So you can see how people are starting to, when you start to actually combine these, you make really powerful headlines that's going to drive conversions, it's going to capture more attention, it's going to spark more curiosity and get more people to consume your content, consume your advertising copy, whatever it is that's going to eventually lead them into making a conversion, right? 3 ways. 3 ways 47 Skin help my dark spots and blemishes, right?
3 ways 47 Skin help my spots and blemishes. First,
boom, another example of a listicle. Big offer, right? All items £10. Boom. Buy one, get one free. You guys have probably seen this before, and does this not capture your attention? It's a big offer. It's going to drive results, right? And this is what people use on like their Black Fridays or whatever holiday sales that they're doing. They tend to use like a big offer, big headline, because that captures attention. Because it's like, well, I can get a really big deal here, right? So buy one, get one free. You can see here, all items £10. Cool, right? Calibrated question. Well, this works well because, we talked about this. Like, what does it do? When you're asked a question, your brain automatically tries to find an answer to it, right? So, boom. Another one of Mr. Beast's videos. 349 million views. Would you sit in snakes worth for $10,000, right? Does that not spark curiosity, right? Here's another example in a really powerful hook by Sabri Subi.
So instead of telling you what goes into a selling system, what if I just handed you a proven selling system that you could use straight away to consistently and predictably get more clients?
Right? Powerful. Calibrated question. What if I just gave you this thing? What if I just did this? And then this is also an example of, a big offer too, right? What if I handed you a proven selling system that you can use right away to predictably get more clients? It's a calibrated question, right? Because you want to answer it. And then it's also an example of a big offer because it's giving you this. He's literally handing it to you, right? Next one. Who else wants a screen star figure, right? Next. Dream outcome with mechanism. So, amazing new diet pill burns more calories than running 3 hours on a treadmill. Would you not want to know what this is? Especially if you want to lose weight. Would you not want to know what this diet pill, just a simple pill that can help you avoid doing much work? And this is an example of, again, if you scroll up, you're seeing hitting the dream outcome, right? And then with little, so this is an example of trying to get the dream outcome with little effort and sacrifice, right? So if you come down here, again, amazing new diet pill burns more calories than running 3 hours on a treadmill, right? Another one, how to use my subconscious selling method for webinars or challenges to get cold audiences to say, take my money now. This is an example of, boom, a how, right? And this is an example of also, ridiculous result too, right? How to get cold, because because these cold audience, if you know what cold audience is, are unique to marketing, right? Cold audience is just people who are unaware of you, have never heard of you before, right? How to use my subconscious selling method. So this is the mechanism, right? This is the mechanism. Use my subconscious selling method. Boom, mechanism. For your webinars or challenges to get cold audiences to say, take my money now. That's a ridiculous result because you're trying to get strangers to give you money on day one. And this is done by a marketing guru and legend, Russell Brunson. All right, so they've changed the headline on this, right? So they've probably been testing it. And this is another thing, that is, you want to be testing your headlines all the time, because this is a high impact thing to test that's actually going to dramatically change the results that you see from your ads, from your landing pages, exactly. So when I actually put this on there, it did say subconscious selling, but what's likely happened is they've tested the multiple headlines, split tested multiple headlines, and found this to be a winner, right? Which was an example. So okay, let's do a little challenge, guys. What is this headline an example of? Right? X result in Y time. It's just flipped the other way around. Give me 3 days and I'll show you step by step how to sell anything online. Right? So is Y time in X result in a way, right? Cool. Right? There's another one. Complete hormone balancing system. Works in 9 days. Example of a dream outcome. So a hormone balancing system, the actual dream outcome is within the mechanism, right? Complete hormone balancing system. And this is also an example of X result in Y time. You can see how, guys, when you start combining this, you get such really powerful headlines, such really powerful messaging that's going to drive action, that's going to drive conversions, that's going to drive consumption, right? Cool. Right. And this, right, is examples of how you write winning headlines, right? So I'm going to combine this with the rest of this video. This is going to be part 1 of the video, right? And we spent a lot of time on these headlines and hooks because this is one of the most important things that's going to dramatically change the results you get. And this is one of the things that you want to test the most of, because this is what's going to drive the most results. So that's the first half of this video and this masterclass. The second half will be going into the rest of the copy. So now you capture people's attention. Your next job is then to retain their attention and increase their desire and shift of beliefs, which is what we're going to cover next.